What's going on, everybody? Aaron Trevino here, and we are back with another wonderful guest. We have Danny from beautiful Austin, Texas. How you doing today, Danny?
I'm doing great, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing well. I know we connected a while back, and I enjoyed our convo, and I'm real glad to have you on the show today. So thanks for coming on.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, Danny. So for those of us who aren't too familiar with you, would you introduce yourself, please?
Of course. So, hello, everyone. My name is Danny. I'm a real estate investor, military veteran, and I currently am partnered with Real Estate Lab, which is an acquisitions company, trying to take over the multifamily space and provide software solutions for everyone. So, W2 by day is working on the acquisition software, and then the hustle on the side is finding self-storage facilities and multifamily properties in order to increase my portfolio and eventually help um, first responders and police officers in the upcoming years. So that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. No, that's great to hear, Danny. So I'm curious. Growing up, were you around real estate, or did you always know this was something you wanted to do, or kind of how did you get into the industry?
Um, yeah, so growing up, I never was part of real estate. I wouldn't be remotely seen how I am now. Growing up, I grew up in San Diego, California. I spent 19 years there before joining the military, and I honestly just played football. I danced, I surfed. Majority of my time was spent breakdancing and doing hip hop. But I did not see myself doing anything in real estate at all. And eventually, after joining the military, I had my I guess my aha moment of what I wanted to do. And luckily, it came very early. It came at the age of 19. But I started off with writing down everything that I was doing at boot camp every Sunday in a bathroom stall. In a bathroom stall, it all started there. Every Sunday, I'd hide in a bathroom stall at boot camp and I'd write my story of, hey, this is what we're doing at boot camp. Because I knew I wanted to start a blog, I wanted to change people's lives. And so I did it by just kind of documenting what I was doing. Eventually, that blog turned into marketing collateral where I was trying to grow this blog. And so I did that through social media marketing. Now, kind of a long story short, but that social media marketing, I grew my Instagram from 0 to 15,000 followers. Now it's not at 15,000 anymore because I don't nurture it as much as I used to. But when I did that, I was able to go to multifamily investors, go to different syndication firms, and tell them, hey, if you give me 10 minutes of your time, then I will grow your Instagram for free. I just want 10 minutes a week. And if you can provide that to me, then I'll grow your Instagram. I just want to learn. And so eventually they're like, dude, that's a crazy deal. Like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. We'll give you courses, we'll give you all this other stuff, which I didn't even ask for. And so eventually I started to learn the multifamily trade. I started to learn about real estate investing, and I kind of paved my way through there.
Yeah, I find that so interesting. So you're there in boot camp, you're there in the bathroom stall, you're just writing. I mean, I guess trying to, take inventory of what you've been doing over the past few days or the past week. At that time when you're in the bathroom stall, did you think you wanted to do something much bigger? Did you expect to be able to do something like that, starting from that bathroom stall?
It's funny saying bathroom stall, but yeah, I definitely did. I 100% did. I noticed the people around me, and I noticed a determination of the people around me just wanting to be better. There's a fear unknown when you join the military, before you sign that contract, when you sign the contract, and then even when you're in the military. And so at that moment, there was a lot of fear of the unknown, but all I knew is that I was going to be successful. It wasn't a I don't know if I'm going to be successful or how I'm going to get there. It was I will be successful. And so in that bathroom stall, I don't know what brought to my attention making a blog. I just knew that I had to, number one, hide somewhere so I don't get in trouble and start getting yelled at. But number two, I knew that I just had to do something. I knew the military was a stepping stone, but I knew I also needed to find a way to make extra income and impact the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting as well. It's that takes a lot of courage and foresight to be able to do something like that. Whether you're military and you have your full-time thing, or maybe you have a current 9 to 5 right now. It can be hard for people to kind of see outside of that, and just see, hey, maybe you're just in a season of life, and you'll eventually transition to something else.
Of course, of course. Yeah, it was completely different. It was the nine, especially for the military at that time, was just unbearable. It honestly wasn't a 9 to 5. It was like a 9 to 9. So just a little bit different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm curious as well. I guess just from a veteran's perspective, maybe what are some lessons you may have learned in the military that you see really transitioning over to the civilian world, and what you're doing
Mhm.
right now?
Great question. There's a lot, but what I would say is trust but verify. One of the main things we have, not only amongst ourselves and the troops around me, um, but with everything we do in real estate, you trust, verify. If somebody tells you, this property is a dime a dozen, this property is worth 410, $410,000, 6% cap rate. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers. You want to check that. You want to verify that. You want to make sure cap rates, property managers, just a numerous amount of things are trusted but verified. Even with my partners, I want to make sure that everything is okay. That would be the main one, and then also it's not going to be handed to you. Everything requires discipline. Everything requires speed of implementation. Everything requires hard work, and that those things are things the military drill into day one. Is you have to be disciplined. You have to wake up early. Not necessarily early, but you just have to be up. You have to be up. You have to be motivated. Speed of implementation, and then execution. Make sure you're executing on everything that you're doing. For the military, it depends on people's lives. Real estate necessarily doesn't depend on people's lives, but I sure treat it as if it were. My tenants, if they need something, their facility, if they need to get into their facility, for instance, I'll give you an example. One of the tenants that we recently had to get into their facility and was locked out, and their husband passed away, and they needed to get their stuff. And so to me, it was how could I make this tenant not only pleased and satisfied, but make her process easier during emotional time for her. So speed of implementation, execution, and then problem solving, I would say is the last one. Um, Figuring out things on the fly. A lot of the guys in the Army are really good at that, and one of my partners is Army, and being able to figure things out when there's bullets flying over your head, is a huge asset. And so I would say those are probably the biggest things I have learned and I take in today in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's real estate or military, or whatever it is, it's always good to have that auxiliary, right? To have the plan B. And then, of course, being able to think on your feet, I'm sure serves y'all pretty well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, no, and I really like that distinction you made, maybe kind of, I mean, in the military, you were mentioning how you're dealing with, people's lives would be on the line, and maybe a bit different in real estate, but in a sense, it's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't compare apples to oranges,
Yeah.
but I try my best to compare it that way. You should treat it as such. It's people's money, people's hard-earned money that they're putting down, whether they choose to invest it or not. Somebody worked for that, and even if it's just some stuff, and I don't know, maybe they have cardboard in there. At the end of the day, you're promising them a service, and you should be committed to that service.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm curious, is when did you get out of the military?
I got out of the military officially January of this year, which is 2022. But I was able to participate in a program that allowed me to intern for the company that I'm currently working for, um, which was 6 months before January 2022. So that started in July of 2021. And then from there, so I kind of say I got out July 2021, but in all reality, officially on paper, it was January 2022.
Okay, absolutely. And I'm curious as well, were you, what brought you to Austin or really Texas for that matter? Were you stationed there? Had you been to Texas beforehand or what was the connection there?
So my internship was in Austin. I have a great friend, the owner of Real Estate Lab. His name is David Tupin. Friend, partner, boss, a little bit of everything. And he was able to help me transition from the military into the civilian sector. And by doing that, it opened so many doors to me. Number one, I already knew Austin was a huge market. I was stationed in North Dakota, and I knew nothing was going to be worse in North Dakota. So I was ready to pack bags and move shit. So I once he signed the papers and he got me over here, I went to Austin, immediately looked for my first house hack, was able to get a house hack almost immediately. And yeah, I just knew it was Opportunity City. There's too much going on. And even while I was here for the past year, I got to see it grow, and I got to see all these other businesses move in. So so far I'm loving it, and so far I'm just really bullish on Austin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm curious as well, do you see, any sort of similarities between Southern California to Austin, or are there any things that you particularly like about Austin?
I would say so as far as culture, and San Diego's very relaxed. If you ever been to Southern California, San Diego is, it has its bad spots like any other city, but it also is very relaxed. People there are just really cool. If you go to LA, to me, it's very dirty. I don't want to be in LA more than 2 days. But Austin, I could say, is pretty similar to a San Diego. A lot of people are very, very calm, very nice. I feel safe anywhere in Austin. I can walk at night, and then as well as there's just a lot of creativity down here. There's festivals. I just went to a kite festival this weekend. Like I was like, all right, we're flying kites, I guess, this weekend. And there's just a huge sense of community, which I really love. Because I honestly think that's just going to fund the real estate. It's going to fund the growth, and I think it's going to cause more people to move over here. Um, and it's a really cool city, really different.
Yeah, no, one interesting thing you touched on was that, fostering that sense of community. It really seems like within the past few years, not only in Texas, but really across America, people are really yearning for that sense of community and really caring about where they live.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's important too. Like I said, this kite festival had thousands of people there and a ton of people flying kites and a ton of kids running around. And one thing my buddy mentioned to me, he's like, "There's no police officers around here, really." And I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like that'd be crazy if something tragic happened, which thank God nothing happened. But it's just, I think a lot of people are enjoy the city and they know it's safe and they think it's safe. Um, and obviously you should always trust but verify, as I was saying earlier. But yeah, I think it's just a really cool city. It's nothing like San Diego. Or I wouldn't say it's nothing like it's very much like San Diego, but as far as crime rate, it's nothing like San Diego. In San Diego, you know which spots not to go to. In LA, you're in one nice block and then you cross the other block and now you're in a bad area. And then for Austin, it's honestly there's no place in Austin I feel like I wouldn't walk at night. Um, and that's just how I feel about this place at least.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And another term you used was you called Austin Opportunity City. So I know you mentioned how maybe there's a few companies coming in. What do you think makes Austin special in your eyes compared to maybe other places you've been?
The growth, I feel like there's a new building going up every week, and I truly mean that. There's a ton of people saying the same thing, and I'm not even reverberating that. The other day we went downtown and we're driving on, I want to say 24th Street, and there's two buildings that just started that just hit ground, like just broke ground. And then last week there was another building in downtown that's now going to be the tallest building in Texas. Meta moved last last 2 months. Tesla's headquarters are here. Samsung moved to Taylor, Texas, which isn't far away. Georgetown. There's talks about Disney owning land in Jewel. Um, Bastrop has a lot of, I think Netflix is going out there, and it's kind of in a circle, you know. And then, there's a connection. There's I-35 for people that don't know. The I-35 is the freeway in between San Antonio to Austin. And San Antonio is already getting majorly developed, but in between the I-35, when I had boot camp, that was completely empty. Like it wasn't very worked on. And then now there's freeways getting expanded. Like there's multiple things going up in Kyle, Texas, multiple things going up in Buda, things that are just or Buda. There's things that are just happening that you could tell. Like there's some growth in Austin, um, and you just see it in front of your eyes, and it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see.
Yeah, absolutely, Danny. Definitely over the years, I've seen, a bit of that, just seeing that I-35 corridor really developing a lot. And I guess in terms of what you're doing at Real Estate Lab, could you describe a bit about what your role is and maybe, what specific types of deals you're working for or looking for rather?
Of course. So to start it off, I have two different things. I have Real Estate Lab, and then I just have my acquisitions company that I work with on my partner. Now, to begin with Real Estate Lab, as I said, is an acquisitions platform. We pride ourselves in being the best acquisitions platform on the web or in multifamily, really. And we launched in January, and we're getting out of beta in June or July. And the plans that we have to take it up to scale are just astronomical. We think it's going to be able to impact multifamily investors, both big and small. And we're trying to do it at a great cost, and we believe we can do it. And so, I guess with Real Estate Lab, to answer your question, what I'm doing there is I'm doing the marketing. And so, my main job is to provide help with marketing, social content, social leads, impacting our lead flow, which eventually turns into deal flow. And then also, I work with a ton of virtual assistants. So I work with a ton of creators in the Philippines, and they help us build our content and help us make a content engine that is able to create hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content per month. And that allows us to not only market, but that also allows us to get an upper hand on how we want to approach our software marketing. And then so that's my main job. And then I also work on the data side. I specialize in creating data within multifamily alongside with my team in the Philippines. And we are working on building data for multifamily investors to distribute to them and to provide to them so they can, make the most reasonable offers that they can whenever they're buying properties or doing their due diligence, a little bit more of the trust but verify method. And so really excited about that. But as far as Real Estate Lab, that's what I am. I'm the marketing guy, and I do the data as well. And so establishing a data center for Real Estate Lab. Now to move on to my company, don't really have a name for this company. It's really just me and a buddy getting some acquisitions. And what we do is we find deals. My strongest suit is finding deals and creating systems to make it passive. And so within my company, I just find self-storage deals. I negotiate with owners, I underwrite the deal, and then when it hits, I align it with the best partners. I find a partner with great experience, and I find partners with capital. And those partners will generally partner with us, and we will just take an equity split of whatever we can agree to. And then from there, we'll come out with the business plan. If it's 1 to 5 years, and usually what we're doing is we're trying to hold these forever and then refinance them and then buy more real estate. So those are a little bit two of the different avenues I'm doing right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely like the sound of that. It's, there are two different avenues, but in a way, there's a lot of similarities, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely, they coincide pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. And I find anytime someone mentions real estate software, I find it so interesting. I can't help but just be intrigued because people, I guess historically, it kind of seems like people would poke fun at the real estate industry. Technologically speaking, it was one of the most antiquated. It was kind of behind, and now we're really getting a lot of that technology injected into the industry.
Mm, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, definitely, Danny. Is there anything you haven't said thus far that you'd really just like to hammer home for us?
No, nothing too great. I guess here, let me think about that. Um, no, I mean, if anything, just get after it. I feel like by any means, I don't consider myself massively successful. I know I will be. I know I think the 19-year-old in me would be very pleased to see where I am today. But I don't think he would be ecstatic, you know? Um, and, I always push myself, always trying to be the best version of myself. But to those listening, I guess I would really just say, just, always push for the next level. Always try being a better you, whether it's in real estate or not. Um, I just think that stuff resonates with me a lot. How can I be better? How can I make my troops better? How can we grow together? How can we work as a community? Um, and so I would say those would be the main things, at least I would say.
Yeah, absolutely, Danny. And I'm curious as well, maybe someone out there is listening. They're looking to put a deal together. Maybe they're looking for capital. They're looking maybe to raise money for the first time, or really just get their feet wet and start their first real estate deal. Is there any bit of advice you'd be able to give to them?
I would say find the deal or find the money, find what you're good at. So whether it's a syndication or a JV, everyone needs capital partners. Everyone needs a deal. Figure out what you're good at. I knew that I have a circle of people that have money, but I knew that it was going to be a harder challenge for me. Now, I know the scarcity in today's market, and I know finding deals is very hard, but to me, it's very easy and it's fun. And so I chose to find deals because there's two things that you need to incorporate in order to make a deal happen. That you need to have a deal, you need to have money, right? Everything else is pretty easy to put together, but you need deals and money. So if you have the money, bring it in, or you can find the money and you can bring it in, or if you're able to find the deals, then go out and find those deals and just match them together. Um, I guess I guess the partnership, you need to find someone that knows the deal, knows how to underwrite the deal, really knows the language. You need to find somebody with experience who's probably going to know the underwriting, probably going to know how to manage everything. You need to find somebody with the money. You need somebody that's going to bring in all the money, that has a net worth, the liquidity to sign off on the debt. But once you have those, I think it's very, very lucrative for you because at the end of the day, it's just you and two other people, and you're gonna get a massive equity split. And you're going to, you'll probably cash flow. It will probably change your life. And then, when you refinance and you buy another one, or you refinance and you have that big check in your pocket, it's life changing. So, um, yeah, I would say, find the deal or find the money.
Yeah, well said. Find the deal or find the money, y'all. Well, Danny, maybe someone's listening. Maybe they're in California, they're here in Texas, they're in another part of the country. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's going to be Danny, Danny, which is my middle initial, and then Aguirre, Aguirre. Or you can reach me at Danny@realestatelab.com.
All right. Well, Danny, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I've really enjoyed our conversation, getting to know a bit more about you. Your military background. You using that to transition into the real estate world, and it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Likewise, Aaron, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.